Hey, Miles here, milesbeckler.com. This video is going to reveal 3 tips to help you improve the conversions of your outreach campaigns. Now, real quick, an outreach campaign is generally utilized when you want to get actually something from someone else. So you might want to get on their podcast. You might be trying to get a blog post guest spot. You might be trying to get them to be an affiliate for your product and try out your product and then ultimately recommend your product to their audience. There's a lot of different ways that outreach is used in the digital world. And as someone, myself and my wife both, we receive dozens, if not hundreds of outreach requests every single week. And I can tell you this honestly, 99.8% of them are absolute rubbish. So from what I've seen as a recipient of an immense amount of please do this for me outreach, right? That's just blatantly someone trying to get me to do something for them. These are the 3 things that if you want to get through the gatekeepers, if you want to actually get the attention of the individuals you're looking for, these 3 tips are going to help you massively improve that process so you can actually get the contacts and build the relationships and ultimately get those kind of outreach campaigns working for you instead of against you. Because when these don't work right, they're actually killing your brand and they're making you look terrible and you probably don't even realize it. So tip number 1 is don't ask for things from people you don't know. It really is that simple. And this philosophy, right? I talk a lot on the channel about building trust with your audience. Well, it's the same thing in the world of outreach and in the world of creating new possible link partners or affiliate partners, etc. If they don't know who you are, you shouldn't expect them to know who you are. Most people who are successful in their business do not spend any time watching YouTube videos. So if you're another YouTube personality and you think just because you have XYZ number of subscribers that actually means something, you're totally wrong. And they probably have no clue who you are. So when you send this outreach kind of boasting about how big you are, and then you go straight for the ask, I want you to do this for me, it comes off really, really the exact opposite as you hoped it would come off. The equivalent, imagine you're in a bar setting and there's a good-looking person who you'd like to go out on a date with across the bar, right? For me, this would be a good-looking girl across the bar. And I walked up to her and I said, let's go out on a date next Tuesday at 5. She's gonna look at me and be like, dude, that was kind of creepy. Like, not only no, but like, get away from me. Like, that's a little bit too forward. But if you initiate a conversation, if you ask questions, if you get to know that person, if you have an enjoyable time, you maybe go shoot a game of pool or you play some shuffleboard or you hang out and you talk, you really get to know them first. And then you go for the ask after you build trust and get to know them. It's going to be a totally different response. So that to me is the number 1 biggest challenge that most people, or the number 1 biggest problem of outreach campaigns, is people are just going for the ask right away. I've had it where it's in the subject line. It's literally like, will you publish this guest blog post for me? And they actually put the entire guest blog post in the email. And it's like, I'm not even going to read that. In fact, I'm just going to block your email address because you're wasting my time. So number 2 is give value first. And this takes it to the next level, right? It's not just like build a relationship and get to know them a little bit and engage with them first. It's literally give them value. And I want to make sure it's clear, you giving away that thing that you created, your software package, your funnel system, your course that you created, that you ultimately want them to promote, right? You want them to be a promoter of that. If you think giving them that thing for free is value, you're totally wrong. There's no actual value in that. So I'm going to use me as an example here. My tech is solid, right? My funnels are dialed. Like, my business works extremely well right now and it consumes a lot of my time, but like, there's no lack, right? I don't feel like there's something out there that, oh, if I had that, my business would be more. No. I'm operating and executing my plan, and most other business owners are. So when you're asking someone to review your thing, or you're like, hey, I'll give you a free copy of your thing, that's actually not really a value add. So what is a value add? You could do a feature on this individual where you write up a post on your website, you give them a backlink, and you give them exposure to your audience, right? You could just do this out of the good of your heart. You could create that and you could say, hey, look, I created this. I love what you're doing. I just wanted to show you what I've created. Then you're giving great content. You're giving them access to your audience. You're also giving them a backlink on your blog. That's a pretty noteworthy amount of value that you've delivered right there, unasked, right? Another thing you could do is you could ask to interview them, again, giving them access to your audience. If you're a YouTube creator and they're a YouTube creator and you've got a big YouTube channel, well, instead of bragging about that, you could actually offer to leverage that in a way that's going to bring value to that individual you're hoping to get something from. Does that make sense? So what can you do to deliver real world value that's going to ultimately help them accomplish their goals, right? So my goal is to help, the whole world of internet marketing avoid the fake gurus, build successful businesses without buying overpriced products and courses. Like, if you can help me get more of whatever that messaging is to my audience, or help me grow my messaging to where I can reach new audiences that don't yet know of me, you have now given me value. And there's a law in this universe called the law of reciprocation. And when you give value first, the odds are it's going to increase the possibility of you receiving value on the other end. So that's really why you want to give value first, is because it plays right into the laws of attraction, the law of reciprocation, etc. Number 3, you need to respect their time. And there's 2 sides to this one. And I've probably mentioned time already at least 2 separate times in the earlier ones, right? So the first one is you need to keep your messaging short and sweet. If you're sending long drawn out messages, or if you're replying with these super long comments on their YouTube channel or their blog, etc., or you're sending them these long drawn out social media messages, like, you're just not respecting their time. You're not respecting the fact that they're going full speed, they're working their business, they have a lot going on. And that lack of respect for their time, it's hurting you right from the get-go. If your message is short and sweet, it's something that the subject line is kind of curiosity inducing, or helps them realize there's going to be value for them in it beyond, here's my free thing I want you to promote, then they're going to click and open. And if that email is able to be consumed within 15 seconds, 20 seconds, right? I can read that whole email. I get who you are, where you're from, what your goal is, what you're doing, and it all makes sense in 20 seconds to 30 seconds. I might consider it. If I look at your email and it's like, oh God, it's going to take me 5 minutes to read this, I'm going to delete the email because I'm that busy. It's not out of disrespect in any way, shape, or form. It's just that I'm literally that busy. I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning and I work till 7 o'clock at night. So like, I've already got great things that are very productive for my business to fill all of those hours. Like, I don't need more things per se. So that's the first side. The second side is for you to remember that if you're trying to give someone access to your course or to your tool, there's an opportunity cost there, right? So let's say you're like, hey, Miles, I want you to check out my new fancy funnel tool. I'm going to give it to you free. And you think that's a value add to my life. Well, to me, I instantly think this thing's probably going to take me hours and hours and hours to try to plug in, to try to figure out. It's going to distract me from the other parts of my business that with those hours, I could bring in $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. So the opportunity cost, and if you have a course, if you've got an online course that's 10 video modules and it's a 4-hour course, like literally you are directly eliminating the time that I could be spent growing my business, growing my audience, creating more value for my people, expecting me to consume your thing. There's just a mix match there. And you really need to be observant of the fact that there's an opportunity cost. Whereas if you are interested in hosting me on your podcast, right, or hosting them on your video channel so they can get exposure to your audience, that's a good use of their time versus consuming content, because the successful internet marketers create and publish more than they consume. So if you're expecting them to consume something, you're going against that natural kind of breakthrough that they've already had, which is, I'm the kind of person who creates, I'm not the kind of person who consumes. So you got to play within that. And if you have a software tool that will work, go use it for them. Go create something for them. Do the work for them. And yes, this means now you're taking your time to actually create the result to show off and showcase what you're doing. But that's a lot better than expecting them to take their time to work with your untested, unproven, shiny object that's ultimately a distraction. Now, I hope these are helpful, because I will tell you honestly, I know a lot of people in the marketing space, in the internet, digital marketing, and make money online space, but I know even more people in sub niches, in the travel niche, in the fashion niche, in the spirituality niche, who are growing real actual authority sites in the health and wellness niche, in the camping niche, for example. The number of kind of cold outreach emails that all of us combined receive is astounding. Like, you would be surprised at the sheer volume of kind of deflection moments we all need. So we are all going around with our guard up, right? There are attempts for our attention everywhere, and we're already the type of people who create more than we consume. So we probably don't know you. We think you're a distraction. We think what you're trying to get us to do is promote something, because that's generally the ulterior motive from every individual. And unless it's abundantly clear what the value is for us and for our audience within a 20 or 30-second moment to really get that there's no strings attached, there's no further expectations, you're really just trying to kind of give some value, that is how you initiate a relationship. And the individuals that get access to other people's audiences are those who have relationships with the individuals. I hope this hasn't been cold, but this is one of those moments that we just needed a little real talk, because there's so many people doing this wrong. And last thing, if you're using a team or a virtual assistant in another country who English is not their first language, and you gave them a template and you're sending them on a rampage of outreach, and they're butchering the English language and they're butchering your messaging, or if it's you who's just copy paste, just going through thinking it's a numbers game, and if you do enough outreach, you'll kind of get there, like, realize that you're burning a lot of bridges along the way. And this internet world is based on relationships. Our whole world is based on relationships, and you need to treat these digital relationships as you would the same as real world relationships. And very few people would go about this kind of an approach in the real world. But yet somehow when we transfer over to digital, a lot of people turn into kind of just shady spam bots who are trying to get what's in it for me, how can I get. But in the real world, you're probably a nice person. You're probably the type of person who would take time to get to know someone. You might buy them a cup of coffee to get to know. You'd probably be the type of person who holds the door for other people. You might be a courteous individual. But when that translates online, so many people forget that we're all real people on the other end of that email address, on the other end of that tweet, on the other end of that direct message on Instagram. And you really need to put that relationship value forward in the front and center. And when you do that, you'll be amazed at the types of responses that you get. I hope this has been helpful. I think outreach is an extremely important part of the game. I don't do any at all because I'm busy building my business, and I'm comfortable doing that. But if you are doing outreach, be sure that you're putting the relationship first. Be sure that you're giving value first. Be sure that you're being respectful of their time, and be sure it just doesn't come off that you're trying to give them something, because we all know you want it promoted. Like, every internet marketer who's successful really understands what that ulterior motive is. So you got to get your expectation, your positioning, your goals, your hopes in the right position. You'll be amazed at what you can create in this world when you build a lot of strong relationships with key players. Those kinds of backlinks and those shout outs and those promo things happen not because you asked for them most of the time. It's because you've built a relationship and they see the value that you can add to their audience. When they have that aha moment on their own, you're going to have a much higher conversion rate. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you know somebody who's doing outreach and they're going about it the wrong way, please grab the URL of this video and share it with them. It's a public service for all of us in the world. Put it in that Facebook group where everyone's doing it wrong, so they can get an idea of the right way to do outreach, or at least a few tips that might help them get on the path to doing it the right way. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. You'll get new notifications if you hit the bell of when I put up a new video. I currently do 3 videos per week, and I'm dropping mindset stuff, I'm dropping technical stuff, and I got a lot of great videos for you next week. So be sure you subscribe. Any questions, get at me in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next video. Until then, be well.